Have you ever wondered how you can create a metallic effect in Illustrator? If your answer is yes, then you're in the right place. Hi there everyone, my name is Andrei Marius. I've been working in Illustrator for over 10 years, and in this Envato Task Plus tutorial, I'll put my experience to use as I show you step by step how to create two different types of metallic effects using Adobe Illustrator. To complete this tutorial, you'll need these two fonts and this logo from Envato Elements, so make sure to check out Envato Elements, where with a simple subscription you can get unlimited access to millions of creative digital assets such as music, graphics, photos, fonts, and many more. You can subscribe right now with the link in the description. Let's open Illustrator to create a new document. Select pixels from this drop-down menu, set the width to 850 and the height to 400 pixels. Make sure that the color mode is set to RGB and the resolution to 300 pixels per inch. And then you can click this button to create your new document. Press Ctrl and minus to zoom out a bit. And before we start the work on the first design, let's open all the panels that will be used throughout this tutorial. All you have to do is go to Window in the menu bar and open all the panels that have this check mark. Don't forget to also open the character panel, and once you're set up, you can start by selecting the rectangle tool from your toolbar to create the background for your first metal effect. Select the stroke and remove the color. Double-click the fill color and replace it with 68, 68, and 88. And then you can click on your artboard to create an 870 by 420 pixels shape. Keep this new shape selected and focus on the control panel. Make sure that the alignment is set to artboard, and then just click these two buttons to easily center your rectangle. Keep it selected and move to the appearance panel to add a second fill for your shape using this button. Select this new fill and change the blending mode to soft light. And then move to the gradient panel to apply a radial gradient. Move to the gradient sliders to adjust these colors. Start with this one, double click it, change the color mode to RGB. Lower the opacity to 0% and set the color to 68, 68, and 88. And for this other color, let's change again the color mode to RGB and replace the color with 18, 18 again, and 38. Now you can switch to the gradient tool from your toolbar and use it to stretch your gradient like this. Press Ctrl and minus to zoom out a bit and squeeze your gradient like this, and again stretch it somewhat like this. Once you're done, press Ctrl and plus to zoom back on your entire design and continue with the type tool. Let's move to the character panel to set the settings for the text that we're about to add. Select that headline font that you got from Envato Elements. Set the size to 150 and the tracking to 50. And then just click on your artboard to type in metal. Press the escape key to easily switch to the selection tool. Move your text roughly in the center of the artboard. Keep it selected. Click this non-swatch to remove the current text color, and then move to the appearance panel to add a new fill for your text using this same button. Keep this new fill selected, and let's apply a linear gradient. Set the angle to 90 degrees. And then move to the gradient colors to edit your gradient. Let's start with this one. Increase the opacity back to 100% and replace the color with 152, 154, and 158. Now you can hold down the Alt key and drag a copy of this slider. Set the location of this new color to 35%. And then move to this other color to replace the color with 114. 114 and again 114. Keep focusing on the gradient bar and click on it 4 times to add 4 more gradient colors, and then let's select these new colors one by one, starting with this one. Replace this color with 93, 93, and again 93. Make sure that the location is set to 15%. Move to this one, set the location to 50%, and for the color let's enter 164, 164, and again 164. Moving to this one, set the location to 60%, and for the color let's enter 134, 134, and again 134. And for this final one, let's set the location to 80%, and replace this color with 201, 201, and again 201. Now this will be your metal gradient. When you're done creating this gradient, return to the appearance panel to select the stroke, and let's apply a classic white to black gradient. Reverse this gradient, set the angle to 90 degrees, and let's increase the stroke width to 3 points. Make sure that you check this round join button, and then go to Effect, Path, and Offset Path. Set the offset to -1.5 pixels. Click OK to apply this effect. And before we move on, let's lower the opacity of the stroke to 50% and change the blending mode to soft light. Now add a second stroke for your text using this button, and let's adjust the applied gradient. First of all, drag this slider to the middle, so set the location to 50%, select this other gradient color, lower the opacity to 0%, and replace the color with 231, 230, and 233. Hold down the Alt key to drag a copy of this slider and move it all the way to the right edge of this gradient bar, and then return to the appearance panel to lower the opacity of the stroke to 70%, decrease the stroke width to just 1 point, and go to Effect, Path, and Offset Path. Set the offset to -0.5 pixels. Click OK to apply this effect, and let's reselect this fill to add some shadow effects. Go to Effect, Stylize, and Drop Shadow. Change this blending mode to normal, lower the opacity to 40%, set the offset values to 0 and 5, lower the blur to 0 pixels, replace this color with 28, 28, and 48. Click OK to apply this effect, and then let's apply a second one. For this one, increase the opacity to 70% and the blur to 10 pixels. Click OK to apply the second drop shadow effect, and then add a second fill for your text. Replace this linear gradient with black. Change the blending mode of this new fill to color burn, and lower the opacity to 50%, and then go to Effect, Distort, and Diffuse Glow. Move these sliders to 7, 20, and 10. Click OK to apply the effect. Make sure that your black fill is still selected, and this time go to Effect, Sketch, and Note Paper. Move these sliders to 25, 15, and 8. Click OK to apply the second effect, and return to the appearance panel to add a new black fill. Keep it selected. This time let's just change the blending mode to soft light, and go to Effect and apply Note Paper to apply again that same Note Paper effect. Deselect this top black fill and go to Effect, Distort, and Ocean Ripple. Move these sliders to 6 and 20. Click OK to apply the second effect. Reselect this black fill, and this time let's go to Effect, Brush Strokes, and Angle Strokes. Set these values to 100, 50, and 10. Click OK to apply this new effect. And let's add one more fill for this text. For this final fill, all you have to do is replace this color with 20, 20, and 51. Change the blending mode to color dodge and lower the opacity to 50%. Now that you've got your metal effect, Let's see how you can easily apply it on other elements from your design. We'll use this simple logo from Envato Elements to exemplify the power of graphic styles. Moving back to Illustrator to save this metal effect as a graphic style, make sure that your text is selected and click this new graphic style button to save all of these appearance settings as a graphic style. Now you can select your logo and apply that metal effect with a simple click. Moving to the second metal effect, let's create a new document. Increase the width to 1100 and the height to 500. Keep the color mode set to RGB and the resolution to 300 pixels per inch, and then create this new document. Again, press Ctrl and minus to zoom out a bit, keep the same panels opened, and start again with the rectangle tool to create the background for your second metal effect. Remove the stroke color, set the fill color to 120, 120, and 151. Click on your artboard, set the width to 1120 and the height to 520 pixels. Click OK to create this new shape, center it, and then move to the appearance panel to add a second fill. Select it, change the blending mode to soft light, and then apply a radial gradient. Double-click this gradient color, change the color mode to RGB, lower the opacity to 0 and replace this color with 120, 120 and 151, and then move to this other gradient slider. Again, change the color mode to RGB and replace the color with 70, 70 and 101. And then use the gradient tool to adjust this gradient. First stretch it like this, then squeeze it, and then stretch it a bit more, somewhat like this. Once you're done, switch to the type tool from your toolbar and focus on the character panel to set the settings for your text. Select that Robinson font, which you got from Envato Elements. Set the size to 330 and the tracking to 50. And then click on your artboard to type in silver. Press the escape key to easily switch to the selection tool. Move your text roughly in the center of the artboard. Click this none swatch to remove the current text color, and then add a new fill for your text using this button. Apply a linear gradient for this fill. Set the angle to 45 degrees. And now let's move to the gradient colors to create a silver gradient. Start with this one and replace the color with 188, 190 and 192. Drag a copy of this color to the left and set the location to 50. Drag another copy and let's move it to the left edge of this gradient bar. For this color, let's set the location to 10%. Double click it to increase the opacity back to 100% and replace the color with 231, 230 and 233. Click on this gradient bar to add another two colors. Select this one, replace the color with 241, 241 and again 241. Make sure that the location is set to 90. Drag a copy to the left and set the location to 60%. Move to this other color, set the location to 75% and replace the color with 152, 154 and 158. Again, drag a copy to the left and set the location to 35%. And then add one more color, set the location to 20% and replace this color with 254, 254 and again 254. Now this will be your silver gradient. Let's save it, so go to the swatches panel and just click this button to save your silver gradient as a swatch. On second thought, let's press Ctrl and plus to zoom in on this text so you can better notice any change that you are making. Make sure that you have this fill still selected, and let's apply a drop shadow effect. Set the blend mode to normal, lower the opacity to 30%, set the offset values to 0 and 8, lower the blur to 0 pixels, replace this color with 61, 60 and 93, and then click OK to apply this effect. Let's add a second fill for this text, drag it below this one, keep it selected, replace this linear gradient with a flat color, and let's set it to 61, 60 and 93, and then go to Effect, Path and Offset Path. Set the offset to -4 pixels, click OK to apply this effect, make sure that you have this fill still selected, and this time go to Effect, Distort and Transform, and Transform. Just set this Move Vertical slider to 16 pixels, click OK to apply the effect, and then go to Effect, Blur and Gaussian Blur. Set the radius to 25 pixels, click OK, return to the Appearance panel to lower the opacity of this fill to 75%, and then add a new fill. Let's drag it below this fill, close these two fills, and focus on this one. Apply a linear gradient, set the angle to 90 degrees. Let's replace this complex gradient with a simpler one. Double click this color and replace it with 61, 60 and 93. Drag a copy of this color, remove this one, drag this one to the left edge, and then double click it to lower the opacity to 0%. Return to the Appearance panel, make sure that you have this fill still selected, and go to Effect, Distort and Transform, and Transform. Again, move the slider to 35 pixels, click OK, and now go to Effect, Blur and Gaussian Blur. Increase the radius to 60 pixels, click OK, and get back to the Appearance panel to add a new fill for your text. Keep it selected, replace the linear gradient with a flat color and set it to 120, 120 and 151. Change the blending mode of this fill to soft light. And then go to Effect, Distort and Diffuse Glow. Move these sliders to 10, 5 and 20. Click OK to apply this effect. And return to the Appearance panel, this time to select the stroke. All you have to do is apply your silver gradient, increase the stroke weight to 4 points, and go to Effect, Path and Offset Path. Set the offset to -2 pixels, click OK to apply this effect, head back to the Appearance panel, and add a new fill on top of your stroke. Replace this linear gradient with a flat color, set it to 120, 120 and 151, lower the opacity of this fill to 50%, and change the blending mode to soft light. For the final touch, let's add one more stroke on top of this fill. Increase the stroke weight to 10 points, replace this linear gradient with black, change the blending mode to soft light, and lower the opacity to 50%, and then go to Effect, Path and Offset Path. Set the offset to -5 pixels, click OK, make sure that you have this black stroke still selected, and go to Effect, Sketch and Chrome. Drag these two sliders to 8 and 10, click OK to apply this effect, and this will be your second metal effect. Finally, just as you did with the first metal effect, you can save all of these appearance settings as a new graphic style, and then you can select other elements from your design and apply a metal effect using this graphic style. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Remember to hit that like button as it helps me know that I did a good job. Subscribe if you aren't already, and don't forget to click the little bell icon to be notified of any new tutorials. I'm Andrei Marius, and I'll see you in the next video.